Did you know that INFJ men are the rarest Myers-Briggs personality type in the world? In fact, it's thought that only 0.5 to 1% of the population is an INFJ man, or only 5 to 10 out of every 1,000 people. Although there are a lot of things that make this type unique, their uniqueness isn't always a good thing. In fact, because they're the rarest type, INFJ men have difficulty identifying with others and frequently struggle to make friends. Today on Charisma, we're going to look at the 8 reasons INFJ men have no friends. Number 1, Hes Private. Even though INFJ men are great at listening to and understanding the emotions of others, they can be extremely private when it comes to their own emotions. In fact, INFJs are known as one of the most secretive Myers-Briggs types. Because of this, they have a hard time opening up to others. INFJ men run into a bit of chicken or egg situation here, in that they crave deep, meaningful relationships, but often aren't comfortable being vulnerable enough to establish those relationships in the first place. Furthermore, an INFJ man can seem standoffish or rude to those around him when he doesn't open up. This can lead to difficulty making friends, especially the kind of significant, purposeful relationships he craves. Number 2, he's too busy pursuing other goals. Because of their internal intuition, NI, which corresponds to the ability to identify patterns and future possibilities, INFJ men are incredibly future-focused. This results in them not only identifying and setting clear goals, but also coming up with a clear means of achieving them. The INFJ man is someone who probably has a 1, 5, and 10-year plan and a step-by-step outline on how to achieve it. However, they can become so obsessed with achieving their own goals that they let other relationships, including friendships, fall to the wayside. INFJ men also feel a calling to something, quote, bigger in life. Some of the most famous INFJs include humanitarians like Mohandas Gandhi, Florence Nightingale, and Eleanor Roosevelt, and this is no coincidence. Because of their compassion, empathy, and interest in improving the human condition, INFJ men are often drawn towards careers that help others, such as through counseling, social work, or education. And when an INFJ man feels that his work is directly contributing to something as big as the improvement of the human condition, it's easy for him to let friendships fall to the bottom of his list of priorities. Number 3, he's introverted. As introverts, INFJ men are drawn to spending more time alone than with others. The downside of this is that INFJ men are sometimes just not around others enough to form new friendships in the first place. And even if they do manage to make a new friend, they can struggle to maintain this friendship because they prefer to spend their time by themselves. An INFJ man might, for instance, turn down invitations to hang out or go to a social event with a friend because he values his alone time more. Over time, though, this can lead to the INFJ's friend feeling snubbed or resentful that the INFJ isn't putting equal work into the relationship. And from the perspective of the INFJ man, he might feel resentful towards friends who want him to spend more time with them because he feels that they don't fully understand his reasons for needing to be alone. Eventually, this buildup of resentment can cause an INFJ man to not only have a hard time making friends in the first place, but also losing those friends he does have. Number 4, he feels misunderstood. As we mentioned at the start of this video, INFJ men only make up 0.5 to 1% of the world's population, and as the rarest type, it's hard for them to find others who understand them. The majority of men are ISTJs and ISTPs, both of whom are drawn to logic and practicality. INFJs, however, are drawn to more philosophy, art, and the bigger picture in life. Due to this, it can be challenging for them to find like-minded friends as they often feel misunderstood. While INFJ men have a deep longing to form meaningful relationships, they find that this is difficult to do simply because they don't relate with most people and others don't relate with them. This isn't done out of ill will on either part, but it's just because an INFJ man is such a unique personality type that it's challenging for him to find someone who really gets him. Number 5, he has high standards. Philosophy, religion, psychology, the meaning of life. While lots of people consider these concepts heavy and too deep to discuss on an everyday basis, INFJs are different. Instead, an INFJ man prefers to talk about weighty subject matter like philosophy because at his core, an INFJ man is an idealist who wants to change the world. It probably doesn't surprise you then to know that INFJ man despise the opposite of deep conversations, gossip, and small talk. And because of this desire for authenticity and deep, meaningful relationships, INFJ men are super picky with who they choose to be friends with. To them, a friendship has to have a true give and take and bring deeper meaning to each other's lives. However, not everyone is interested in this type of friendship, so INFJ men often find themselves struggling to find those people who can meet their high standards. Number 6, he's intense. An INFJ man's desire to discuss deep topics doesn't only mean that he has high standards, it also means that he's very intense. One way in which this can harm an INFJ man's relationship with a friend is his intense interest in diving deep into the psychology of other people. If an INFJ man is talking to a new friend that's upset, for instance, he would want to get to the bottom of why they're upset. Is it due to a childhood trauma, a deeply held insecurity, or something else? While INFJ men value such conversations and see it as an important part of connecting with others, the intensity of this can in fact scare others off. The intensity of INFJ men can also lead them to perfectionism, which can intimidate or even annoy their friends. If an INFJ man decides to learn to cook, for example, he might spend hours on YouTube watching cooking videos and learning about different knife techniques. Then, when going out to eat with a friend, he might ask tons of questions of the waiter or obsess over the dish he's eating. While INFJ men's curiosity and intense nature appeals to some people, just as often their intensity can overwhelm and turn people off from them. Number 7, he's a highly sensitive person, HSP. INFJs have a strong sensitivity to external stimuli, and they're often more aware of nuances in their surroundings and the subtle ways in which people interact. But the same brain mechanism that gives them this awareness also means that they're hypersensitive to other things too, like sights, smells, sounds, bright lights, and crowds. This means that many INFJs are also categorized as highly sensitive people, HSP. These are people who are thought to have a heightened central nervous system sensitivity. In other words, they have a stronger sensitivity to social, emotional, and physical stimuli. They might react more to violent movies or video games, be emotionally touched by art or music, or become overwhelmed in crowded spaces. While there are benefits to being an HSP, for an INFJ man, their sensitivity can be seen by others as weakness or not masculine. This can make it difficult for them to establish friendships, especially male friendships. As children, they're frequently told to hide their emotions and be tougher, and as adults, they often feel emasculated. This can lead to low self-esteem later in life and poor self-image, making it even more difficult for them to have the confidence to establish friendships. Number 8, he's an old soul. If you've ever known someone who's been called an old soul, or maybe you're one yourself, you probably were dealing with an INFJ. As children and young adults, INFJs come across as serious, deep thinkers. While their peers may be interested in pulling pranks on one another or going to birthday parties, INFJ children are drawn to understanding how the world works. They might spend time in nature, reading books on their favorite topic, or writing stories. Because they seem to develop at a different pace than other personality types do, they have a hard time making friends as children. This difficulty connecting with others can become ingrained in an INFJ man from a young age, making it an unconscious part of his identity as he grows older and turning him into someone who identifies as not being good at making friends. In addition, when an INFJ man hits adulthood, he may feel like he missed out on being young and suddenly develops an interest in going out or partying. By this point, however, his peers have gotten over that phase and are in a different place in life. For an INFJ man, it can feel like he never quite aligns with where his peers are from a development standpoint. While we're on the subject of INFJs, do you know how to tell an INFJ apart from an INFP? Watch the next video to find out.